Hi everyone, my name is Jarek from Genius Gecko and welcome to the video where we'll be covering advanced roadmaps. In our last video we talked about basic Jira Roadmaps. If you haven't watched that already, feel free to do so. It provides some basic understanding of what are the limitations of that tool. And today we'll be jumping into advanced roadmaps, focusing on some basic of that tool and how it handles dependency, what features around dependency it offers. Please remember that if you have any further questions or problems with the tool, you can feel free to reach out to us. We offer trainings, we offer consultations, and also we have battle-tested implementation process that time and time again proves to be very efficient. Okay, so let's jump into advanced roadmaps. After this tool is available on your instance, you will have another menu section over here called plans. And if you'll expand it, you'll see that, yeah, I have some plans over here that I created earlier, but I can also create a plan. So let's do that. Obviously, I need to provide a plan name. I can decide whether access to this plan should be open or it should be private. I'll stick to open for now just so that everyone can access it. And now the most important part of this window, issue sources. This section defines what issues will be visible on our plan. So we can select a board, right? So all issues from this board will be pulled into our plan. We could also select a Jira project or a filter that is saved in Jira. But what is the most important thing is that we can add multiple sources. So we could add multiple Jira projects, we could add multiple projects, multiple filters, and even mix of those. So this is first and one of the most important differences between advanced roadmaps and roadmaps, because roadmaps did not allow us to source issues from multiple Jira projects. So I will just pick something randomly. I could assign teams over here, but for now I won't do that. I'll just create it like that. And you'll see that issues that I have over here are coming from multiple projects. So here I have some issue from project with key P1, over here with key P2. Okay, but I will switch to the other plan and let's talk about other features and what kind of planning we can do over here. The plan screen in advanced roadmaps in general is divided into three major sections. At the top, we have many. At the middle right side, we have our timeline. So we have timeline with all the issues marked and dependencies between those issues. And on the left side, we have hierarchy of issues that are pulled into the plan and some of the columns that we may want to see at the moment. Let's talk a bit about hierarchy over here. So you can see that I have basically an epic and I can drill down to see lower level elements. So at this moment I have just two levels. There is an epic and a story or stories inside the epic. There could be obviously also subtasks under those stories. So this is pretty standard hierarchy, but for larger companies or sometimes for companies that do not really work in Agile but need to have work split in different ways than just epic stories and subtasks, that kind of three-level hierarchy is not sufficient. Fortunately, advanced roadmaps offers us to configure more levels of this. So you'll see that if I'll go, for example, I think over here, there will be additional field called parent link. And yeah, we can see that there is issue of a type initiative that is marked as a parent. So what advanced roadmaps allows us to do is, I will switch to the other tab. This is Jira configuration screen. It's an advanced roadmap section. But what can we do is we can add multiple additional levels and decide what kind of issues will represent work on this level. So you can see that at the top at the moment I have initiative. This means that when on the lower level there is epic, the initiative will be parent of an epic, and there will be this new field that I've just shown you where we can put the initiative. And when we'll access initiative, you'll see that, yeah, there are children epics. There could be more levels over here. There could be, for example, a feature or anything else. So basically whatever your company requires, whatever your project approach to work breakdown is. Okay, let's switch back over here. Yeah, so I have 4 levels potentially. Why there are only 3 over here? So obviously, first thing that we need to ensure is that our parent tasks are also pulled into the into our plan. So in my case, parent tasks are in separate Jira project. Now let's quickly double check if this project is in configuration. Issue sources, PI board. This is the project that contains my my initiative. So they should be visible. They should the hierarchy should be there. Let's go back to the plan. What is actually happening over here is in filters there is a lot of potential options to filter out issues if we need to focus on specific ones. But over here you can see hierarchy filtering. I can decide what level of hierarchies I see at the moment, and I have it selected, so I see epics and lower. If I select initiative, you will see that, yeah, suddenly initiatives appeared over here. I can drill down, I see epics initiatives and even lower normal tasks. The epics that are not assigned to any initiative, have no information in this parent field, will be basically displayed here under section issues without parent. So this is something to keep in mind. You can modify what levels of information or of hierarchy you see over here. I will stick to the epic at the moment. And there is way more options to do the filtering. So this is actually pretty robust. You can filter by releases, teams, more on teams we'll talk a bit later, assignees, and so on and so on. We can mix all of these. So basically, if there is a certain set of issues that is interesting to us, we can easily find it or narrow down visibility to see only them. Another thing that provides a lot of values is possibility to, first of all, switch views. So you can see over here that we have a view selector. We can switch between different views, and it will basically change what kind of information we see over here. But also within each view, we can modify the columns that we see. So at the moment we're at sprint capacity planning, so it makes sense that we see priority sprint, story points, okay. You can see that I can click over here and show also release and team, but let's assume that we are not interested in release. We want to see additionally maybe assignee. Yeah, let's select the assignee and remove the release. So you can see that I replaced assignee with release. I can fold it if at the moment I do not want to see it. I do not want for this information to take place on the screen, but in general I can modify this. You can see that now my view is edited. Of course, I could manage view and create the new ones. I'm just showing you that the existing ones, even existing ones, can easily be edited. On the right side, we have a timeline, and well, as we would expect, we have on it the issues marked their start and end dates, and dependencies. So let's have a look at, for example, these 2 issues. They have dependency between them. If we hover over issue, you can see that dependency is marked in 2 ways. So one is available by default or visible by default. It is just the line between the issues. And the second way is visible as this kind of a chain icon. If we click on this, we'll get the details of dependencies. So yeah, we see the type of dependency is blocked by. This is the default way. So basically every time we create dependency in the advanced roadmap, it is reflected on issue level as a link. And by default, this is blocked by or blocks link. And what else? We can add dependency over here. So basically we would be able to pick issue and pick dependency type. And we can filter by dependencies. We'll drill down into these two options a bit later. They are very, very interesting. Okay, so we see dependencies, we see start and end dates. What is important is that on the left side, getting back for a moment to hierarchy, we have in some cases this kind of a warning sign, the exclamation marks. This shows us when something is wrong with issue. Usually it is connected to the dates. So let's see over here. Issue is okay, but it has children with warnings. Yeah, that makes sense. And we see that on the children, yeah, it starts before the parent. What else? Here is similar case, issue dates outside of assigned sprint. So basically the start and end date of the issue is not within the sprint to which the issue is assigned. Sprint assignment will be talked through, we'll talk through in the next video. So you can already see that if something is wrong, advanced roadmaps, at least with dates and dependencies, advanced roadmaps will give you a hint. So probably you will be able to fix that. Okay. From the timeline, we can of course create new dependencies. It is pretty straightforward. So either select the plus icon after hovering over the issue and drag and dropping into the other issue, and you will see that it creates dependency. We can click on dependency, see which issue it links. It is often useful if we have dependency that, you know, the other issue is way lower, because sometimes there will be hundreds of issues over here. So yeah, clicking over here and seeing what is the dependency over here is pretty useful. And from this level, we can also delete the dependency. We can play around with start and end dates. Yeah, so you can basically move the issue around. Of course, it can cause the exclamation mark over here if, for example, you pull it over the from outside of a duration of the parent. But that kind of a drag and dropping option usually works or is used in waterfall approaches. For agile approaches, we'll be using sprint assignment, which in my view is thought a bit better than standard waterfall one in advanced roadmaps. What else? If we click over here, on the dependencies over here, there are two additional options. So we can filter by dependencies. This will basically show only issues that have dependencies with the one on which we clicked. So yeah, narrow this down and we see these issues are basically grayed out because these are the children of an issue with which we have by which we have sorted, and we have other issue with dependency on this visible. Everything else is hidden. By the way, filters appeared here, so if we want to see everything back again, we need to remove the filter, and that's it. The other option, maybe let's look at this issue, is show dependencies report for this particular issue. If we click on this, we'll be moved into other screen, into other report type that shows us dependencies between with all the other issues. So here the situation is pretty simple. There is only one-to-one, but in a moment I'll show you a bit more complex situation, and you'll see what this feature offers you. It's very, very interesting in my view. After we access the dependency report for this issue, you can see that the filter is applied. So basically only issues dependent or having dependency with this one are displayed. When we remove that, we will see all the dependencies from our plan. Now, this is really, really interesting feature because we can see whole chain of dependencies. So you can see that, for example, P131 is dependent on this one, but if we'll have a delay in the issue P19, it may also affect this one, right? So you can see whole chain of dependency. Also, additional information, you'll see what kind of status, so to say, there is. So here we have a blocks link minus 13 days. This is not good because this means that this issue starts 13 days before this one ends, and we can basically confirm this on the start and end dates available over here. So probably we should do something about this. On the other hand, here we have some room to spare. So there is 18 days of free time between those two issues. So probably we could move P1 11 13 days into the future, so that here we are on 0 and here we still have some time to spare. Yeah, so this, I really like this report. It helps to track what is happening and what could be the consequences of the change within the project really nicely. We can see the status here, short description. We can also check dependencies over here. If we click over here, there are two other options. So we can filter by issue. It will basically do what we've seen in the beginning. So it will limit the issue displayed only to the issues that have some kind of relation with this one, even relations that are not direct, like this P131. And this is very useful if you have a lot of dependency in your plan. This is usual case. Usually we are focusing only on a single issue that we want to track. But also we can locate this issue in the roadmap. So if we click on this, you can see that it appeared, it basically focused us on this particular issue. It was P11, yeah, this one. So it shows us where we are on the timeline. We can access dependency report also from here. So if you access it from here, obviously it will be unfiltered. All issues will be displayed. Yeah, but if you need to focus just on single task, go over here because it will be a bit clearer for you to read. Now, there is one very important thing that I need to point out. So there is an issue I prepared for myself. And this is this one. So let's focus on this. You will see that this issue has a dependency icon, but there is no line connecting it with other issue. There can be two reasons for that. First reason is that issue with which this one is has dependency is under some other parent, and this issue is collapsed, right? So it's obvious if issue is not displayed on a timeline, there will be no line connecting it with this one and only icon. But that's not the case here. The case here is that this issue is linked with the other issue that is not in our plan. So we did not pull this project or any board with this issue into our plan. So basically, yeah, it's not on the timeline. Let's see what happens if we access dependency report for this issue. We see all issues from our plan. Why is that? Why this wasn't filtered by our issue? So let's try to find it. Find our issue that we just sourced, that we just clicked on. No matches. This is because both of the issues connected with dependency has to be within our plan for these issues to be included in here. Which in my view is not a perfect solution. There are ways to work around that if this is something that you need, because very often we have separate plans for separate projects, not Jira projects, but business projects. And there are some dependencies between those two issues. We still need to track these dependencies. So advanced roadmaps gives us only possibility of, seeing over here that there is some link, but it doesn't show us this dependency on dependency report. There are ways around that. There are several ways around that. If this is the case for you, if you need to have that kind of possibility, let us know. We'll discuss through the best solution for you, as there might be multiple of them, and yeah, they have all their upsides and downsides. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In our next video, we're gonna talk a bit about Teams and how to use the tool for actual planning, because up till now we discussed some of the technicalities that were a base for our future discussions. If you need further support or have any problems with the tools, feel free to contact us. As I mentioned, we have in our offer trainings, consultations, and very, very well tested and proven implementation process that works in any environment. So thanks for today. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and hear you next time.